I think we're online. Let me just go make sure. We go here. And let's go and just check. You know, YouTube has never once failed me with this, but for some reason I cannot get the fear that they are about to. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. I can hear myself. That's good. Let me just maybe move this a little bit closer so we can get into the yellow zone. Okay, that's good. Can close that. Actually, I can just check here. Okay, yeah. All right, another Gleam session. Yeah, I was actually busy for a short while now, and I was thinking, why am I doing this solo? I mean, I could be streaming. I could be doing something rather than just this. Just doing it alone. So let's see here. Where was I? I was at this thing right here. Let's actually go here. Just throw that in there. Actually, can't we just go here? Throw it in there. Yeah, there we go. Then I want to put in a different one. We can just use this one. And where were we? I was at 32. Let's go here. 32. We're just going to watch this because I'm not done yet. But I do think it is valuable information to at least know. Then I can just make sure I'm still here. Afterwards, however, we will be taking a look at this right here. And yeah, now I'm down another rabbit hole here, and actually let me just go back to the streaming tab here. I should actually move my recording space there, and then move my streaming space here. Yeah, that should make it easier to like keep track. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, so this is like a whole rabbit hole because, and let me just in case, because I am not, you know, I might be on a not safe side. I'm usually not, but just in case. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, I can show you all this. Yeah, so pretty much, I was just here at the Gleam because I was working here on the Gleam thing here, and one thing I noticed is every single module you make is the file name. So if you have like /API/users/search, as I explained right here, and you have an invoices/search, both of these files will be indexed as the search module. So if you want to use both of them in the same file, you have a little bit of a problem because now you have to kind of change how they are imported, and it's just down the road it's going to become a very big mess. So I asked around like, how am I supposed to handle it? Because in JavaScript, if you don't want to handle it like this, usually you do a topic/action. That's usually, you know, if you don't want to have super nested stuff, it's topic/action. So in here, they said actually you just kind of put everything in one file. And the worst thing I have seen, let's see here. Yeah, this one right here. It is insane. I cannot stress enough that, I don't know. So this is like one file. Like, oh my word. I mean, coming from JavaScript, this is insane. Yeah, I mean, like in JavaScript, your files are usually not nearly this big. Not nearly 9,000 lines of code. I usually try and cap my files to about 1,000 lines of code just to make sure it's not getting too fat. So when I learned about this, I was absolutely disgusted and horrified. But they told me usually it's for a good reason. I hope it's for a good reason. So I'm actually, because one of them actually also sent me this, which, I mean, their Discord is kind of great. Because one thing I remember is, what was it, when I tried to move to Odysee Links, and I joined like their social medias. Oh, like some social medias are just great and others shouldn't exist. Like the Odysee Links, I go in there, I ask a question, and everyone reports me as spam and gets my account pretty much muted for the whole thing. I sent free messages. People reported me as spam. So that kind of like made me never go onto social medias again and ask people there, and just do things on my own and hope I get it right. But these guys are actually just epic. They are like the most friendly people I have ever met, and they just answer your questions. It's great. because I fear asking questions sometimes because, I don't know, sometimes people just tell Telegram I'm a spam bot and I get banned. So that wasn't fun, and that's also why I decided I'm never going to use Artix again. Because, I mean, if that's the community, yeah, I don't want to even touch it. Like, the Arch Linux community is better than them, and I mean, that's not a high bar. No, I'm just joking. So, let me just get this back here. So yeah, so we're going to be watching this. Can I change this to dark mode without needing to sign in? Yeah, thank you very much. And autoplay off, and of course ambient mode off. There we go. So yeah, they're pretty darn awesome. I definitely recommend talking to the Gleam community because, I don't know, they're just chill. So yeah, currently I'm just watching this to kind of figure out what are some good practices when trying to scale, because the first thing I try and do when I learn a new language is try and figure out if I'm going to use this in a big project like some of these we're using at my work. How are we going to scale this? And currently I really don't like the idea of files going to 8,000 lines plus, because, I don't know, it's just simpler if a file has, let's say, 500 lines of code, because you know exactly how to isolate the specific part you want. It's easy to search for it, it's easy to navigate for it. Once it gets to like 3,000 lines, it really just starts getting uncomfortable to use. So it's not something I really like, but he kind of makes a good point of how you can like split it up and stuff. But we'll see. Maybe I'll end up liking it. I mean, I hated JavaScript when I first learned it, so maybe it's going to be the same here, where I kind of don't like it, but I grow into it. Because now JavaScript is like my favorite language. Or not JavaScript, TypeScript. JavaScript sucks. I don't think I will ever write regular JavaScript again. Just TypeScript. Anyways, let's go.
Fruit. And then in our fruits module, we can get rid of that. And we can import.
And I'm going to speed this up because I usually don't watch stuff at like ×1 speed. It's too slow for me. You are free to play this at like 0.25 speed or something to slow it down. But I can't play stuff at ×1 speed. I fall asleep.
Selected fruits. And then we just have to go through and make a couple changes here. Oh, we'll come back to that. Selected fruit, insert, remove, etc. So this is also selected fruit. We're kind of leaking details here. Okay, let's see. Okay, check. Does this work? No. Selected fruits. It's singular. There's also a stray paren. Spelling. It's nice that, yeah. Oh, geez, what the heck? Okay. Just imagine there wasn't a compiler there. We're just like, well, maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Okay, so this is still working, but we can kind of improve things by sort of closing down this module. Right now we're exposing everything, but we could do better by saying, okay, from the outside, no one knows how selected fruit is implemented. It happens to be a list of string, but no one needs to know. So we have to do a little bit of selected.
Yeah, and he does make some pretty good points, like how you are trying to structure your data. For example, when you start building in Gleam, you don't have objects like in JavaScript, which are so freaking comfy. I don't think Go has like some sort of object, but you have like a type, and it's not always the best. And here it actually goes for a couple of them. Like you have a list, you have your custom types. He goes for a couple of them, and then he says, okay, this one might be best. It's not specifically Gleam though, just so you'll know, but it's similar. But anyways, then it says like you have all of these types of types. Which one should be the best based on, you know, the thing we have here? And whilst I am relatively good with these because I've worked with it for a long time, it's still, you know, good to watch. It's still good to refresh yourself on this every once in a while.
I'm disenchanted with this naming choice. Okay, so now from the outside, no one knows how the particulars of this are implemented. So let's just run it. This is supposed to not work. So we're using list.member particulars on a selected fruit, but we don't actually know the implementation details of that anymore. And our selected, we're saying it's a list, but we don't have access to that information anymore. So we need to add, how do I make an empty selected fruit? And that would be selected fruit is empty. And then we need to test for membership. And then we can just say list.member fruit list. Oh, it's still broken because I didn't actually change the broken code. So here we say selected fruit is empty, and then member, we say selected fruit.member. Cool. So now, now we've sort of hidden all these implementation details, but we can do slightly better, right? So maybe we want to make a guarantee about the size in this data structure. So we can say we'll actually give the maximum size when we say it's empty or not. And then in all these cases, max size. So instead of taking 2, we take the max size. And instead of removing, no, we keep this the same, but we just have to keep the max size around. And then here, we don't care about the max size. We just want to check. So we should have an error because we're just calling empty without saying how big it should be. 2. All right, and then things should work again. Cool. So at this point, we sort of taken all this complexity around maintaining that only 2 things are selected and put it in its own module. So the benefits of this is that when I'm reading through my normal code, all I know is there's some way to select fruits. I can say how many, and then I can insert and remove, and these things will just work out nicely, and I can check if something is a member of that. So you can go like one level crazier with this, which like we shouldn't get into, but you can. So the idea was you could generalize it so that it's a list of anything, not of strings or particular fruits. And then everything works the same, right? You choose the size, you can insert things into it, you can remove things from it, you can check membership. So all these designs are possible, and the question is, which one is right for your situation, right? Should you go like, all right, I'm writing my own data structure that's generic in all sorts of things, and I'm going to optimize it, or is it like, look, it's just a list, it's not a big deal, like we're probably not going to get it wrong. So that depends on what's likely to happen. Maybe at fruits.com, you'd make one choice, but at the new fruit stand startup, I don't know, they want to make different choices. Okay, so the big lesson here is that we started with 2 things that look basically the same and ended up with entirely different ways of approaching them. That was all about the data structure, right? And it is true that they share checkboxes, but that's such a small fraction of the actual difficult things that are going to happen in your code that it makes sense to emphasize the data structure instead. So I want to put a little extra emphasis on the module, right? So I showed this bounded set idea, and it had, there's a bounded set. If it's empty, you can insert things into it, you can remove things from it, you can check membership. Now, the most important part of this module is the exposing line. Okay, so I'm not exposing everything in this module. And specifically, I'm not exposing the implementation of bounded set. So no one from outside can mess with the maximum size. And as long as these functions work, things are going to work. So I want to point out 2 little benefits that come from this. So if you reduce...
Yeah, I do think a lot of most of the things that he's already explained is pretty much past now. But I do think a lot of this is pretty handy. And if you haven't actually watched it, because this doesn't just go for, these Erlang related languages, you could apply a lot of these into your actual, like let's say daily JavaScript you write. So I'd even recommend actually going to watch this as well. I'll also throw it in the chat in case anyone wants to give it a watch as well. But I do recommend at some point, maybe just giving this a watch because it does have some really nice tips and tricks. And if you ever move to a language that is on the beam that uses similar syntax and similar thought process, then this video will definitely help you out.
Use the public API to your module. If implementation is hidden, and if the public API works, the code works everywhere, right? So like if I try to break this code by messing with these functions and I can't do it, anyone else who uses this code won't be able to do it either. So this is actually really nice for testing, because it means you can test the public API very extensively. And that doesn't mean you have to test every particular usage, right? Using this data structure somewhere doesn't mean I can introduce bugs into that data structure retroactively. If it works, it's going to work well. The other thing that's nice is you get easier refactoring. So I can change how things are implemented without worrying what's going to happen outside. So, and this happens in a couple ways. One is, say there's an insert help function that's doing some extra special stuff. I know that it's not exposed outside, so I can mess with that arguments, add arguments, change, shuffle things around, and be sure that this is not going to have any effect in any other modules. I'm not going to have to go hunt stuff down. That's also nice because it means I don't have to worry about if it's used in 10 different places across the code, did they need it to work in a very particular way in each of those cases? And am I covering all those cases? I can just say, oh, it's not publicly exposed. If it works in this file, it works. So the other thing that you can do by creating modules in this way is maintain invariance. So in our case, that's only 2 fruits. But generally speaking, this means there are rules that cannot be enforced entirely through data structure design. So we had our 2, which is 0, 1, or 2, but that wouldn't let us decide how many we want. So we now have a data structure that can let us decide. And by hiding all the details, we can still maintain that rule in a safe way, even though we can't do it purely through data. And one cool thing about finding invariants like this is that they're excellent for fuzz tests, right? So I know that whatever I do with this, if I say my bounded set has 2 things, no matter how many times I call insert, it should just have 2 things. So it's by thinking in this way, you also set yourself up to write tests that are nice and are checking the kinds of things you're worried about. So I want to add some warnings to this advice. So first, if you find yourself writing get and set, right? So we hid the max size, but maybe someone's like, well, I want the max size. I won't do a bad thing with it. Okay, this is a bad sign. This is a bad sign when you have get and set. So the whole point of having a module was that we were able to hide implementation details and say, if you use this public API, it will work. And inside, you don't have to worry about that. We tested it. We know it's good. Setters, their whole point is to expose those details, right? So like you've done all this work to put in a module, and we went through that together. Right? It was like it took too long. And now you're going to give setters to just totally defeat that entire exercise. So just use a record if you have data where you want people to have access, rather than hiding the details, then exposing data in setters. Like these details aren't hidden, so don't do the work to hide them. So another way to say this is expose as little as possible, but no less. Right? Some things do need to be publicly available. So this shouldn't just be like, hide everything. That's better. The other thing is don't overdo it. So I'd wait until I have a problem in practice and then solve that problem. So the goal shouldn't be let's just write modules because modules help with this kind of stuff. It should be, hey, I'm having trouble understanding this code. I came back to it after a month and it seemed kind of confusing. Maybe I can find parts that I can make things nicer. So if you find yourself asking, how do I make the sidebar reusable? Okay, try to remember to ask yourself why. Right? Like, are you going to have multiple sidebars? Maybe not. In which case, like, why would you do the work to do that? If you are going to have multiple ones, a thing to think is, are these cases the same or are they similar, right? If we're just talking about the HTML is going to look similar, but how it works behind the scenes is fundamentally different in both cases, I think it's probably not a good idea to like try to get all into how do we share code between these two. Focus on the data structure instead. Another thing that might happen is as you're growing your record, you don't have any interesting types. Like you don't have that autoplay thing where these fields are dependent on that field, and it's just a bunch of independent stuff. If they're all independent, there's no problem. If I just have fields that have no relationship to each other and I change one, there's not a chance that there's some bug elsewhere. But if I do have that relationship, that's a potential to start finding a data structure and do better modeling. So I'd say like don't be afraid to just grow your record and try to find these connections and how things fit together, as opposed to preemptively like I'm worried about this code, so I'm just going to change it. So yeah, just as there's premature optimization, there's premature refactoring. Like you should, it's a thing. It's fun, right? Like it's like you get to play code golf at work.
Yeah, I know the premature refactoring. I have gotten into that rabbit hole where I want to make something, and I want to make it perfect from the start. And it does take a lot of time, and it does eventually cause you to just stop working on a project because nothing is ever perfect. It's the same thing with making YouTube videos. You know, you try and you try, but nothing will ever be perfect. So it's great to just put it in, get it out there, and later on you can fix it. Over time, you can realize there are some things that you can refactor before you actually build a thing. You know, for example, you might now have experience and know you can't just implement X, or you can't. For example, let's take how you store data in the MongoDB. You don't want to just get a user and then store like in the user you have like their meetings as an example, and that's an array with more objects inside of it. You know, after a lot of experience, you'll know by default, like, hey, maybe you should split the users and the meetings into your own collections by default. So over time, you'll learn from your mistakes in the past, and these refactoring will pretty much become the first thing you do when you start a new project or start working on a new part of the code. So it's definitely a good idea to not refactor too early, but it's also not a good idea to just push dirty code and scale it, because I have gotten into the whole maintaining legacy code thing, and it's hard. If someone just threw a bunch of code in there, and now it's up to you to manage it, it's really hard. So it's good to at least think about the next person when you build something, but it does make sense that you shouldn't be trying to just make everything perfect from the start, because that can actually also make things more difficult later on. For example, let's say here they try to make it like the best it could possibly be, and initially what he did is he had like a list, and he just threw things into that list. And eventually it needed to get limits, and it needed to expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger with more features. And he showed exactly how you started with just something basic, and then you started working on a little bit. And from the start, you started implementing limits and stuff like that, and eventually the code needs to get changed later with more complex features. Your early refactoring may actually make it more difficult to add those complex features later. Especially if you refactored it with a certain concept or idea in mind, but now after time, it kind of changed. So yeah, he does make a good point with that. But also, I'm a firm believer of not refactoring is like early is a bad thing. You do need to refactor a little bit early. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to learn how to freaking do my things here. Let's make this bigger for the rest of the video, because I can already see how this is not how they want us to do this. This is not how they want us to pretty much build the whole thing. And that's how I got into this loophole of trying to figure out how exactly do you build this whole project. How do you scale it? But yeah.
I don't think employers should encourage that, but people like to do it. Okay, so to take a step back, we saw how to sort of how a file tends to grow, right? And if we focus on the data structures, we end up with these nice categorizations where, like, when I'm searching through a code base even, I say, hey, where's that stuff that's related to books? It's probably in the module about books, right? As opposed to, well, there's this update subdirectory, and all the update code is there, and the book stuff isn't. It's just like, it's related to books. So big lessons are focus on data structures and choose the best representation available. So like actually think through as many cases as you can. And the others, build modules around types and try to expose as little as possible, but no less. So I hope this will be a nice next advice in the how do I grow my own code. And one of my goals was to write this up. So I actually started a book that is about functional programming in Elm. And the goal of this book was essentially to write this talk so that people could read it online and it would work out. It turns out it's very hard to write that whole live coding section. So instead what I ended up with is some nice stuff about recursion and graphs. It's fun. Hopefully I'll be able to distill this down into another chapter that actually emphasizes these things in a way where you don't have to see the live talk. But yeah, so that's the life of a file. Thank you.
They didn't link it. Damn it. Functional programming. Functional programming in ELM. But yeah, I've never actually even heard of ELM. But I'm assuming it's possibly some. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Anyways, but I'm assuming it's probably something that also runs on Beam, maybe. Maybe not. But it probably has the same, at least, concept of writing it behind it, and that's how you kind of get to this, get to how this and Gleam kind of works in great with each other. All right, and let's take a look at this. Sheesh. Just some basic good and bads. As an enforced snake case for variable constants and functions, and Pascal case for types and variants. Yeah, they actually warn you if you try and use it in any other way. Yeah, I didn't do this anyways. Because yeah, I can anyways already see how this isn't going to be great. Also, it's kind of uncomfortable to import it like that. So yeah, there's no reason to actually import it like this. Yeah, I've also learned this through Python that importing stuff with names are a little bit better than just importing parts of it. I think it was actually with Nim, not with Python, where I actually made the mistake of just importing like little bits of everything, and eventually I got to points where two modules had the same function of the same name, but now my code is gonna be like not structure. It's not gonna be consistent anymore. And then I learned again I should just import the module name itself and just module dot. Yeah, it just saves you a lot of time later on. You don't make those mistakes. Yeah, I anyways do this. I prefer doing this anyways, just adding my type annotations. Even in Python, even though it's not really required, even in Python I do it because it just really, it makes a difference. Again, here they specify you probably want to use error or OK instead of option. I do use option inside of what we have here, but I think this is okay because this is more it shouldn't give you an error if it doesn't have this field, because here we're getting something from the API. So if it doesn't have that from the API, it shouldn't give you an error. It just tell you, hey, I don't have it. So I don't think that's bad necessarily. I think it's just specifically with like these functions here. Let's see here. Again, here you should just have singular instead of plural. Good thing they told me, because I would have definitely made it plural just because of my JavaScript back, things. Same here, it's app payment invoice, not app payments invoice. Good thing I'll reiterate this because I would 100% do that. Okay, treat acronyms as a single word. Yeah, okay, that's obvious. It may be tempting to ignore. Yeah. Convention function. When naming a function that converts from one type to another, use the convention x to y. So JSON to string. Good thing they also told me this, because I recently made something that was just like toString. It was not what toString, it was just toString. So it's also a good thing I read this, because otherwise, yeah. But it makes sense because the module is for anime, so, or for the anime response. So it would be, so the response to string function would of course be response.toString. So in my head it made sense, but I guess if you scale it, it would of course not make sense. Let's see here, functions or use of I've also seen this a lot, where it has like the type imported differently. I wonder if there's a reason for it, because currently I just use the identifier and then the dot type. I didn't actually import the type just like that. If there's a name for the encoding format or variant used in the conversion function, then use that name. Then use the name of the function. So date to RFC 3339, and here will be date to string. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, this is interesting. So instead of doing your usual type to type, you have just round, because technically that's what it does. It rounds it. It depends actually. It might not actually round it. It depends on how you convert it to from a float to an int. So it might not round it. But I mean, if the end result is a round, then it makes sense. Function return results should be given a name that is appropriate for that domain in operation. So here we have parse JSON, and it returns a JSON result of a parse error, and here we have an enqueue, which is an enqueue error. I kind of get this. I'll just try and remember that when I code, because I think I'm gonna have to do this a lot. It's a special result handling version of an existing function that returns early. When there's an error, then the try prefix can be used, so long as there is not more appropriate domain specific name. So here we have map, which works, and then we have try map, which pretty much will return early if it fails. Yeah, most of this is just some normal stuff. Yeah, the one thing I did notice about these types is you don't actually use it like you would use it in TypeScript, where you have like the type and then the dot whatever. So you would actually just call note all already exists. You'll just call that. You won't do note to book error dot note already exists. This is just something I noticed, which was kind of strange to me at first, because I mean, it's nested inside here, but it's kind of like it's just a grouping. It doesn't really, I don't know. You don't design it around dependencies. So here you have a notes error, which is a file into a TOML. And this one doesn't have enough detail. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm assuming liberally means like do it a lot. Like don't be scared to do it. Yeah, in a generous manner. Yeah, so just do it. It's good to go to leave comments. I do dislike it when some developers say you know if you need to make a comment, it means your code is too difficult. I mean, it's good to leave a comment anyways, because something that doesn't look difficult to you today may be difficult for you 2 months from now. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen it a lot where just developers say you shouldn't leave comments. To me, it's, and for other developers who may have like no background knowledge or context or experience of the code base they're working in, just having a comment there, even if it's just a useless comment that you think might not even mean anything to them, it may be the difference between them contributing and them not. So Yeah. Doesn't mean your code should just be comments though. Gleam style system and custom types enable Gleam's programmers to precisely model their domain in their code. Type definitions that sufficiently encode the business rules that can make it impossible to construct invalid data. With okay. For example, say we are making a website and the visitors to that website can be logged in users, or they can just be guests. All logged in users have an email address and database ID. This could be represented like this, where we have visitor, and then here we have the option ID and the option string. If the visitor is logged in, both of these optional fields would be set. If the visitor is a guest, then both will be unset. However, this data structure can be constructed with just an email or just an ID, both states being invalid according to our business rules. The better design would be to ensure that both ID and email are present at the same time, making the invalid states impossible. That's kind of what the guy did in the video, where he had that little or part. So we have now the visitor and then the logged in user. And then here's guest with nothing extra. Ooh. 25 minutes? Okay, I'll maybe leave this one for another day. Because, I mean, I'm not going to be here forever. It's already 30 minutes in. So, I'll definitely save this for another. Let me wonk this over to here. And maybe after the video, I can go watch it if I have some time. Are you going to load? What's your business? There we go. Okay. And let me just move this back here. And then I think we're good. So I'm not going to watch this right now, but I am definitely going to watch it later. So let's see, replace bools with custom types. Bool type can be useful for representing data of two possible states. However, there are some drawbacks to this. Bool, true and false, have no meaning without context, making it easier to misunderstand. The bool type will be used for many unrelated pieces of data, so it's possible to mistake one bool value for another without a type error to prevent that mistake. If a third state is required, and this is what I thought they were going to say, because this has happened to me a lot in the past, where we'll need like another new state, and then it's a boolean, and now you need to do a whole workaround just to get that extra state to work. So I understand completely why they recommend this. And larger refactoring will be needed. It may be tempting to use a second bool. It is, but that results in 4 states. It does. And a third bool results in 8 states. Combinations of bools can be especially unclear. Yeah, 100%. So instead of having the name and it is a student instead of the school person, you can instead, just move that here, you can instead have a school person with the name and then the role of student or teacher. That does make sense, yeah. Sans.io pattern. The Sans.io pattern is a way of designing API clients, SDKs, and similar packages so that they do not depend on any particular HTTP client. Instead, it gives responsibility to the library user for sending HTTP requests, etc. With this pattern, the user has full control over HTTP sending, so they can use it on any target, inside any structure or framework. They can add rate limiting or retries or anything else they might need. To implement this pattern structure, your code so that each API action has a pair of functions. Okay. one that constructs the HTTP request and the other that takes an HTTP response and returns the resulting data. So here you have your create user request, which is request.new, sets the method, sets the host, sets the body, prevents error, and here you have the response. And that is just 201, 409, and whatnot. It's not the same as taking a HTTP sending function as an argument. That design means that only HTTP clients that conform to that type can be used, which is very limiting. Most notably, it would mean that the library cannot be used on both Erlang and the JavaScript targets. As I kind of think, I'm not completely sure. I'm not 100% sure I understand what they're talking about, but I kind of think I'm already in this problem. Because I might be wrong though, but okay, a lot of things are broken right now, so it's a little bit of a mess. Let me just get my things here. Yeah, I moved it. Did I move it to kits already? I did, I think. Yes, we have like our request.get, which gets, and it comes from here. We're gonna move this to, and pretty much this goes here and it does our request, but it does mean we have to kind of follow what this whole thing here. I'm not completely sure if I understand what they meant, but it does mean we have to constantly update the code to make sure it works with whatever result we're getting here. But I've also been struggling with that throughout the whole Gleam learning pattern here, so I'm assuming it's normal. I mean, I don't know. I might just be wrong. I might not be understanding this correctly, but we'll see. And you have the builder pattern, which the builder pattern is a flexible way to create new records with multiple optional fields, often used for configurations. We have the button new, the button.color, the button.large, and then the button.toHTML. You know, it's also kind of clicking for me why you want everything like this one massive file. It is starting to somewhat click a little bit, because instead of having an object of all of these values in like you'd have in JavaScript, you just have a file, and that file acts kind of like an object. Okay. Any required fields can be taken as an argument. It can be taken as arguments by the function that starts the builder pipeline, the remaining fields being set to default values. You know, I'm noticing this here. Is this kind of like JavaScript's version of like where you have this, where you can just say text, and that pretty much translates to text. Now, I'm kind of wondering now that I see that, because there's a couple places where I wanted to do that, but I was not 100% sure how. I think that was actually in the decoder, maybe, because there's a lot of things here. Like this. Could I just have gone like this, first colon? No way. That would have made my life so much. Last X. Yes, see, then it also marks as, okay, yeah, so that is how it works. Okay, that's handy. I wondered if there was a way to do that, because it's one of the things I really like about JavaScript, it's not having to type so much. Okay, I manipulated other times you wish to make it. Builder functions take the builder value as an argument and return the new version of it with one or more fields changed. So here it takes in that button, and it makes sense because here when you pipe this button, you're going to pipe it into this first one here. And then it generates a new button based on the existing button. And notice this pattern right here is very much like the JavaScript pattern where you have like 3 dots, and instead this time it's 2. And in here, you just append the color itself. Okay. Builder function do not need to only set a field to a value taken as an argument. They can perform any logic to construct the data. Often it is helpful to have convenience functions for common uses and possibly have the users of the code construct the builder record directly if the GWAS. But yeah, it makes sense. Has some anti-patterns. So abbreviation, yeah, they don't abbreviate. I sometimes use X. I sometimes abbreviate a little bit if it's getting a little too long. But yeah, for the most part, I highly agree with this. Just don't do that because otherwise it does become difficult to read. Again, see, this is what I was going to do. This was what my process was going to be, but instead it says just have one massive file. Oh, there's where that other person found the link. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah. If you're having trouble with import cycles, or if multiple modules need to be imported to perform a simple task with your code, then it may be a sign that you have to split your code up. That should be, yeah. I've just been reading like the whole day, so I'm exhausted. This anti-pattern is especially common with AI-generated code. Not with Gleam though, because AI just can't generate Gleam code, like at all. Like the other day, I asked Gemini just for a little bit of help with, because how I didn't know, I should not this. There's just so many things. Like these. I wasn't completely sure how I was supposed to do this. So I just asked Gemini, how the heck am I supposed to do this? It couldn't even just generate the basics of this. I had to pretty much still figure out on my own. It did generate a bit of it, but for the most part, I had to pretty much not rewrite, but I had to write everything here from scratch. It did at least give me all of these crappy little fields because they were very boring to do. But yeah, it just can't write any Gleam code. That is something I've noticed. I've come to just not even open up Gemini anymore when it comes to Gleam. If I have a question, I now just go to the Discord. To be honest, their Discord is just so great and so friendly. I have literally no reason to use the AI. Because the AI is anyways always wrong. And to be honest, their Discord is also really fast. So one of the main reasons I would quickly go to an AI for help with this is because I don't got time. I like have an hour, maybe 2 hours a day to just freely code what I want. So I don't have time. But their Discord has consistently answered me with under 10 minutes. So there's literally no need for an AI if you're writing in Gleam. You can literally just go to the Discord. Okay, panicking in libraries. I'm anyways not someone who would really panic. I did hear let assert. I was wondering about this because I have a lot of let asserts here. So let assert, just an example. I have a lot of them here, mainly because from the libraries, examples themselves, they have a let assert. So it's the only reason why I have them here, but I've been feeling uncomfortable about them since day one. So I'm glad that they say we shouldn't just be doing that. Well, this is specifically for libraries. Mine isn't going to be a library, but I think it still makes sense to maybe not. Just handle the error, bro. It's just 10 more lines of code. Instead of returning a result, takes control away from the users of the library, preventing them from being able to handle errors, which makes sense, yeah. Library does not know the context in which it is used, so it is impossible for the author of a library to know if it's acceptable to panic, so they never can. And the one exception to this rule is for libraries about OTP, the Beam application frameworks. OTP has non-local handling through supervision trees. So there may be some circumstances in which it is appropriate to panic, providing they have a sustainably designed supervision tree. Yeah. So I think maybe the assert is fine in my case, but I don't know. I think I should anyways just handle the error myself. I shouldn't be expecting assert. Can I just pop this thing out because it's bothering me like there's no tomorrow? Yeah, that's much better. Just clean it up a little bit and then make it a lot smaller so it doesn't bother me. And then you can be bigger. Okay. That's so much better. I just wish I could close this part now. Anyways. But yeah, if I can't close that part, then I might as well just keep this thing here anyways. Can I pop you back in? Maybe I just need to close it. Yeah, and it pops back in. That's fine. Okay. So here, global namespace pollution. Gleam has a global module namespace, a property inherited from the Beam ecosystem. If two packages each define a module of the same name, then a project adding both packages' dependencies will fail to compile. Yes, that I have somewhat noticed. To avoid this problem, packages should define their own namespaces by placing their modules within a uniquely named directory. This name should match the name of the package. For example, Luster places modules in source/Luster. The thing is, I'm wondering because I don't have a library necessarily. I'm just writing a program. I don't think anyone will use my library. I don't think anyone will use it as a library. But should I, just in case, design it around possibly being a library? Because, on the end of the day, what if I decide I want to turn it to a library? So this might not be a bad idea to just put my package / whatever there. Other packages should not place their modules within a top-level directory that belongs to a different package. Trespassing in someone else's module namespace can result in compilation errors due to module collisions and confusing code where it's unclear where a module comes from. For example, I must not place my modules within source/Luster, even if I'm making a package intended to be used with the Luster package. And that does make sense, yes. The maintainers of Luster package may choose to reuse the source Luster directory and other Luster-related packages that they also own. Grouping by design pattern. Luckily, we're almost done with this page. I see it like a little bit left. I'm also getting bored. I want to get to coding. I'm tired of learning all of this following guides. Yeah. When splitting your code into modules, always design the boundaries in your system around business domain and what the best API for the users of the code. This means never using design patterns or abstract code constructs as the basis of boundaries within the project. So this is kind of bad where it's just app, we have constants, functions, type, utilities. I already like have a constants here, so I'm already falling for this one right here. And here you have like the category theory grouping, where it's like functions, monads, monoids, I don't know, semi-groups. And also this one where you have your controllers, your your models and whatnot. This is the JavaScript way of doing it, so it's good that they mentioned that's not good. You just have your app, you have your stock, and your billing. If they have 8,000 lines of code in them, then they have 8,000 lines of code in them. That is how it's supposed to be. I don't know. I really don't like the idea of having my file just being 8,000 lines long. But it's not a train smash. Checked in assert. So checked in assert is a pattern common in procedural languages where one performs the check that a value in some desired state and then performs some action afterwards with the knowledge that it is in the desired state. This is an anti-pattern in functional languages like Gleam, and it should never be done. Okay, it's good I also mention this because we do it in JavaScript as well, where you first check, hey, is this thing a string? And if it is, do something. I'm assuming that's what they're trying to do here. Instead, instead of using pattern matching or functions such as result.try and result.map to handle data that could be in some other state, these patterns take advantage of the type system that ensures that there are no mistakes coming from the disconnect between checking and using. Okay, I kind of get this because, yeah, they're very strict on their types. Like, when you get to use their dynamic type system, it's nothing like NIM. It's nothing like NIM's. Then, like, I don't. Did they have dynamic? I almost remember something like that. And it's nothing like that. And it's nothing like the TypeScript any. It is horrible to work with their dynamic types. So it's horrible. So you can see that they don't want you to use it. So I understand why they say just don't. So here we have the check then assert. So we have a case if it's okay. Then let assert. See, this is what I was doing here. And you process it. And in here you have your check then assert with use. So you have your use bool.card. Then you do your thing there. Afterwards, you anyways assert it, but you used it here. The good one would have been to just do a pattern matching where you have your case data, you have your okay where you process it, and your error where you just, sending the error back up. So yeah, makes sense. And in here you have data, and you pipe it into result.try, and you with the process as the next one. Okay. But you're not using later search, so I'm assuming that's the whole point there. Hey, welcome to the stream. Happy to see you here. On a Linux support subreddit, I saw how ridiculous and religiously obsessed Linux users really are. Oh yeah, 100%. Some guy wanted to disable password prompts on his computer and asked for help. To be fair, wait, I already know where you're going with this. Instead, he got a bunch of comments saying you shouldn't be doing that, leave it alone. I know. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's one of the reasons I just don't like asking for help at sometimes, because a lot of these niche communities, they're just like, you should not be doing that. Why are you trying to do that? Why? It sucks. 100% it sucks. It's one of the reasons why when I try and teach someone something, I'm not going to be like, why are you doing that? Unless I'm trying to get him to think to use a different method. But it's one reason I don't want to discourage anyone when I try and teach them. This is for security. You should be doing that. Yeah. No, 100%. And it's happened to me too, where I would just ask something on a subreddit, specifically related to Linux as well. And it's like, no, you should not. That's not what it was meant for. No, 100%. It's one of the reasons I just don't like the Linux community at times. They're not terrible. Like, I've gotten a lot of help from them in the past, but nah. It's, yeah, just no. Just because something is in a way doesn't mean it should be that way for everyone. And everyone has their own little thing they want to do, and you shouldn't always force your views onto someone else, But 100%. They down-duted me to hell because I said I hate Linux because it deleted my... That's a fair statement. Because, do you know, so many Linux distributions do this, where they would physically, where they wouldn't like warn you, hey, you're going to delete your partition like this, or they would, but they wouldn't properly explain it to you. I think it was PairToys where I once just installed it and boop, they're my... because these days, at least you have like these installers that will warn you and tell you, hey, just be careful. But back then, you didn't always have these nice fancy installers that did that. They would just, poof, gone. Oh wait, someone's calling. I'll be back in a second. Let me just yoink this. All right, I am back. Let me just connect my camera again. Is it still showing the ad? Oh, wait. There we go. Man, I really hate it when people call me. Oh my word, it just messes up everything. There we go. You see. No, and now on the fall. There we go. Okay, think we're good. I don't know. I just didn't like it. Every time someone calls me, it messes up. All right. Where was I? The disk drive I used at the time didn't warn me about anything. My computer just lost all of its data. Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's really, it's a horrible experience, and the community doesn't help. It's, I don't know, just when people become fans of things, they just become really toxic. It's the exact same thing when you take a look at like the Artex community. I will. They really didn't make me want to like to have anything to do with their system anymore. Now I just imagine someone who just get into Linux. They just got into Linux. After experience what I experienced with Artex Linux. I'm sorry. To me, I just don't think it's useful. I just don't think it's a great mindset to have, because on the end of the day, you're just pushing people away. You have this product, you want it to grow. And now if you're going to, every time someone tries and touch this product, you're going to scream at them, that product's not going to grow, you know? It's going to struggle. That's why the community is so important and needs to be kept, not in check, but, you know, they need to be managed. Or they need to be told not to be bad, you know, try and be nice. But yeah, it's one of the reasons I actually got into them that great, because they have a great community, to be honest. You know, they're not always great, but for the most part, I have like almost never had problems with them. And every single time I have like a question, they answer it immediately. They're very helpful. It's very much similar to the Gleam community, although I've noticed the Gleam community is a lot faster with their responses. But you know, it's just nice. It's why to this day I'm still on like the Nix, Nix on the not Nix, Nim Telegram groups. Even though I'm not really part of Nim that much anymore, I didn't code it that often. I still like being on a group, because if I do have a question, I know I'll just ask there and they'll answer me quick, and they'll just be very kind. But it's also experiencing, because a lot of experienced programmers would also do the same thing. Not necessarily Linux related, but if you ask them a question, they would simply go, why? You know, it's like the Stack Overflow meme. You know, you ask a question, the first answer is telling you you're dumb. The second answer is telling you it's a stupid question. The third answer is actually answering it. So, yeah. But then also calling you dumb because you didn't know the answer. So, yeah. And here match all variants. This assumes all our variants are teachers. And this one, yeah, okay, good on it. This one I'm trying to do already. And then finally, category theory overuse. Avoid the creation of complex category theory based abstraction. Gleam does not have the ergonomics. Sorry, my brain is shutting down. Gleam does not have the ergonomics to make these abstractions easy to work with, nor the compiler and runtime optimizations required to erase the significant runtime overhead they introduce. Complex abstractions typically introduce high cognitive overhead to the code running, contrary to the Gleam's simple, concrete, approachable programming style. So pretty much, this is bad because it takes the data, monoid, gee whiz, and then you do this thing. You apply the data with the monoid empty and append. Where it would be best to just do a total cost where you take in a list of things and you simply return an int and you do an int.sum. So very much I think what they're trying to do here is say, don't try and mix a bunch of types together and things because just because you want to get X output. Instead, you should just simplify it down as much as you can. I think that's what they're trying to tell me here, because I'm not really 100% sure I understand that, because yeah, it's like abstract style and concrete style, but yeah, something like that, I'm assuming. So instead, you fetch all the data, you put it in a list, and you pass in the list instead of, I'm assuming, working with that abstract data and passing. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of get it. The more I'm looking at it, the more I get it. All right, I think that is good. Now I can focus here again. Because I went down, every time I open up my code to work on Gleam, I just get thrown down another rabbit hole. So let's get started. Let's create a folder. I call it Gleam. But now I'm wondering, I have a file with the name Gleam and a folder. Will that cause an issue? No, it won't. Okay. Alright, then we can just move all of this except for Gleam itself to Gleam. Now we have Gleam here. And yeah, a lot of these things are going to have to be redone. Then here I have Telegram bot. And this, I think this is okay. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is okay. We have the loader. We can move this, I think, into the bot itself. So we can throw this here. Why is this complaining? So I think we can throw that in here to make things simple. And then instead of having a Kitsu folder, we now have a Kitsu.gleam. And this Kitsu.gleam will just have everything we had here originally. Okay, I think we already have that. We can delete these two. They have our constants. And this is just like base stuff, so it's, I don't think it, I was anyways wondering if it even needed that. And let's just move, yeah, we can remove that import for now, that's fine. Decoders, move that in here as well. And then Rick. Now I think this is not a great, maybe, I'm not 100% sure. You see, this is what I was wondering about a little bit a while ago, but yeah. Yeah, so we're definitely gonna have to, I think, clean this up to just work better, but for now, because we're also going to be using this like every single time. Every single time is going to give us also the same string response. And every single time we're just going to pass in an endpoint. So it's not necessarily that this is a useless function. But yeah, maybe it just shouldn't be in here specifically, and then we should also just later clean it up. I just don't feel like it should be in Kitsu, because it has nothing to do with Kitsu. It is like its own little thing. It's its own little request module. But where do I put it? Where would this little thing go? Because I've just been indoctrinated to believe everything should be in one file. Except if you have like enough reason to move it to a different file. So maybe I can just put it in here and then just give it a different name. So let's go here. These are the decoders, or maybe it's just above the decoders. Sheesh. Let's go here. And here we can say HTTP get request. I'm hoping. I'm really just doing this in the dark at the moment. Because we already have like an HTTP part here, but I don't want to rewrite that code all the time. Then in here we can maybe just go mark, just make things easier. This is the types. So then you'll see here it says types. I think that's good. And then here we can go base constants. Methods, just so that I have some basic sense of where things are if I just look here at the side. And in here we can just put decoders. And all the way down here, after decoder, we can have bot commands. They're not bot commands. They're just like requests. I don't know. I'm really just shooting things in the dark here and hoping something sticks. Throwing things at the wall, seeing what happens. Okay, let's start from the top and see if we can clean anything up or change something or just make something better. So first I want to start with this. So clearly I don't think we want this. I don't think we want this. It would instead be better to just do a case around it. So case, actually we can go, I don't think, can you just go case and throw that whole function in there? Would that be allowed? And we can just say, okay, base rec, make that equal to, and let's just do that for now, it's fine. Not equal, we just point it, there we go. And you have error under ERR, and we just go error ERR. Let's see if we check if it's going okay. But it doesn't want to give us an error because it's expecting a type string to be returned. I should just manage the error, just like say something happened and then skip the execution. See, this is where I'm a little confused because how do I handle this error? I'll maybe ask on the Discord and see what happens. Print error, could not make request to API, and then nil, I guess. I don't know. Just empty string. I don't know. Because see, here we get the base request and actually do our things. But see, here's what it's actually want to return. So I'm a little iffy. I don't know how to necessarily handle that. But now that we have the base request, we can move all of this. Actually, maybe I do know how to handle this. Because maybe I should just go error. Or maybe not, I don't know. I don't know, I honestly, I'm just throwing things here. And then see here, because we're going, just using base rec here, we can actually do a pipe, because piping is fun. There we go. And then we can say let rec, like that. As they can go in there. I don't know how to necessarily pipe it into that. I'm not even sure if I want to do result.try here. Because here we use result.unwrap. But when it unwraps, will it not throw an error? Just maybe do that. And then we go here. Like that. And see what this does is it makes it so that you don't need to do this fn, right? Because this would be resp. That's what use does. And then we need to just do, I'm assuming this. I don't know what to do here though, so do that. Yes, it pretty much makes it so you don't have to indent it even more. I'll maybe just send this in so, you know, someone can tell me, because I don't know. I 100% don't know. See, this returns a result or an error. Okay, what is this? This ERR is it nil? What? No, I'm hovering over the ERR, but it's not showing me. Okay, and this will take this HTTPC error here. And I'm assuming this result.try might give us that yes, it might. Now I don't know how to replicate this error right here. Because I mean, wouldn't this error be in HTTP? I don't know. Let's see here. What this request.to gives us nil if it's an error. Oh, okay. I didn't 100%. I don't know how to. I don't know how to generate this error. Can I do this? No. Nil? No. I don't know how to. I don't know how to. What? Okay, maybe just go. Because here I really don't know what to do there. And then I guess here I gotta go okay to make sure it's. I don't know. What do you want from me? So here it complains because this case close was found to return a different type than a previous one. But all case closes must return the same type. The expected type was a result. This. But found result string A. What? Oh, it's because this one tries to return that. But I don't know how to return this error. There's no indication given to me on how to do that. Like literally, there's no indication given to me. So I'm not completely sure how to do that. All I always get is errors. I don't know how to handle these errors. That's all I get, but I don't know how to handle them. Okay, I'm gonna throw this into what's name and ask if they'll be willing to review it for me. Oh, but see, unwrap puts a default value there if it's not found. Because error handling in Gleam is, I don't know, I just don't understand it at all. Like, at all. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So this extracts the OK value from a result, returning the value if it is an error. Returning a default value if it's an error. Then we have the map, which applies to a function containing the OK value, leaving an error value untouched, useful for composing results. Applies a function to a contained OK value. There are try that takes a result and run a result producing function on it, if OK, returning the new result. Then again, now just like, this is the thing with any Gleam like documentation. They like tell you, hey, here's like the basic stuff, and then they move on to things that's not part of what I'm trying to learn here. Or it is, but it's way more complex than what I'm trying to learn, you know? Anyway, so here we go. We get try, we do a DB lookup. Then we do another try, and then we get the username. And we return the username. Should I be using try? Is that what you're trying to tell me here? Should I be using try? So should this be result.try? And then I guess I should be doing this. And I should say use base. I'm thinking I'm going in circles here. So we have that, and just remove this because you're bothering me. You're just constantly bothering me. And that's telling me it's incomplete. And let's say we have this right here. Because seriously, I don't think I understand. Because I really try and use that. But it's giving me a mismatch because the type of this return value doesn't match the return type annotation of this function. Is it because this is it because, oh, so I guess it's because this right here doesn't match this right here, so you can't use it with that. Because it needs to return the exact same error here. You know, I'm starting to think, instead of like, I should just say string. If it's an error, it should just be a string. Because I am so tired of this, because I don't understand it. Or even nil. Nil would be fine, because I don't know. I just don't understand how I'm supposed to use it. But at least like this, I can actually use it like that. And I'm assuming here I can then go like that. And just do that. And that's going to complain, but hey, you can't do that. Oh, wait, but see, I think it doesn't work because I'm using use there. So it specifically wants this. Yeah, okay. And in here, we can do use resp, right? We can do that. Then we can take this whole part out here, and including that, okay. But I'm trying, but I don't always understand what exactly they want from me, because the language doesn't make a lot of sense. Over time it will, but right now it doesn't. And see, this one I can't use. I can't use with, because now it's saying, hey, it's not going to return a null value. So maybe I should say unwrap, and then I should just specify nil. I don't know, or maybe that. Oh, but if I do that, I think I need to go let resp and make it equal to. And this should be a string. I think. Maybe a response. And see, I can't access. Oh wait, that's a response new. So maybe I can do. They say it wants an integer, but it gives a string. I don't know, 200. I didn't know. I literally don't understand what they want me to do here. Because if I unwrap it like this, the thing is now I'm going to get a 200 success response, but my content's not going to be correct. Because now it's just saying, hey, no, it's a success. The thing is, I think this needs to be in a case statement. This HTTP send. Or in the try, yeah, that also works, but I don't know. Like, it's just very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Go like that. And that's going to complain because it can't. The error isn't the same. Wow, wow. This is all the language does. It cries at me constantly. All right, so, hey, another one. Welcome to the chat. I just wanted to let you know that is a known anti-Linux troll. He may be ignored. Ah, man. He's an anti-Linux troll? Damn. Welcome to the stream, though, Strawberry Kitten. Let's see here. Yeah, I just don't understand. It's always complaining. But this time, I think it's because there's nil here. I think because I expect a nil. But here when it tries to do something, it expects a nil, but it's getting this HTTP error. So what I could do is I should do a case, right? So case, and I should throw this in there and see what happens. So if that goes through, and it is okay, so let's go okay, res. We'll figure out the little details later. Then we return the response. Otherwise, if error, I just go underscore because it's going to be, I don't know. Then we just literally say error nil. So something like that, and this will make this RISP. I think this is more likely to what they actually want. Because I can't actually, maybe, I'll actually send it in. Let him just give me the little touch up, say, hey, yes or no. And yeah. Yeah, I'll just add that one later. Let's go like that. Alright, so yeah, just try setting it to nil. We'll probably make it a string to return an error message itself, but don't know if there is a practice to how you are supposed to handle these errors, these types of errors. I tried looking at, but did not find too much help in it. Alright, while we wait, I'll just continue with something else. Because I think for now, at least it's fine. I might just return a string here instead, so at least I can get an error message. Or maybe I should just console log the error message and it should just be nil. It entirely depends on how far up the chain I want to send this. So yeah, I might want to return the failed value, so maybe an int. But here it's gonna go like, you can't because it's not nil. Wah. I don't know. Every single value I change, something else complains, and then I have to fix that thing. And when I fix that, there's another thing that complains because I fixed the thing before it. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. This language is just difficult. It's a nice language, don't get me wrong, but it's really difficult. Because it really forces you to do it right from the start. Otherwise, you're going to do like me, where you just struggle your way through it. All right. Let's see. Now this guy's come back with this. I just haven't gotten to fixing it yet. Let me see what's the error in here, and let's quickly fix it so we can fix the other stuff. So here we have our rec.get, but in this case we have http get request, which now complains because, wow, this is not the same. Screw you. I'm just so tired. Just go nil. I'm just so tired. It's just constantly complaining. And here it's JSON. Here it's decoders. Actually, I didn't think we have that anymore, so we can just go like that. And in constants, like that. Okay, I think that's good. And now here we can actually fix the imports. So we can remove that, and nothing else here is mine. So then we can just go here. Instead of anime fetch, we have kitsu now. So kitsu dot is that auto imports, and there we go. Okay, I think that's good. We can try and run it, just make sure the thing works still before we continue. And yeah. So let's go here. We go. What's it called again? Gleam. Gleam run. Where's this? This is in. Oh yeah, because I haven't updated this yet. Yoink. We can just remove all that. Our Telegram bot. But we don't call it Telegram bot anymore. It's just now. It is still Telegram bot. Bot.start. Yeah, there we go. You see, it gives me like two different versions here, but only one of them are correct. I don't know. It's just really confusing. It's not the train smash, but it is confusing. Oh, we also don't have loader anymore, so I guess we need to just go Telegram bot load env. We might even want to just load this env instead of the start itself. It will make more sense. Would it? Because if you're just using the load env here, wouldn't it be smarter to put the load env in this file? If load env, so this file right, or this part right here, it would be smarter to just throw it in here because we just, does it even need a function? I think just to keep it simple, I think we should still keep it a function. Okay, and there we go. So I think that's better because we don't use it in here. It doesn't load any envs here, so I think that's fine. Okay, let's try again. Like I said, this is in Kitsu. You see, it's not giving me any errors here in the actual file itself. It's not complaining. Let's just remove all of these. Yoink. That should be fine now. Okay. Where's Telegram? Maybe just make it open up here. Telegram. Just in case I have something on here that I don't want to show. I shouldn't, but just in case, because you never know. Okay, let's bring you over here. That's better. Just a little bit less cluttered. So let's go /search. Okay, if we go /help, it shouldn't. Yeah, that's good. Good. Okay, it still works. Man, just getting to this point, but technically there's a lot more going on in the backend than just that. So technically we're still making good progress. It's just we haven't gotten any of this backend stuff to the front end. We can remove this. What's this? Yeah, so that's what we're waiting just for a response. Oh, did someone reply here too? Yeah. So I don't know if I can mark this as completed. I don't know how Discord things work. But yeah, like the Gleam community is just, I can't express this enough. They are just too great. Just let me get a little bit of a breather here. But I think this is fine. Like where we just return null. It might just be best to just maybe put an io.error here. So io.print error. And just go here and put could not. And what would this underscore be? It is this HTTP error. So let's go ERR. I don't know if I can do anything with it. So could not ERR dot. See, I don't know what I can do with it. I don't understand the type. Because it sees the HTTP. Go away. Because see, it's this. I don't know if there's anything I can do with this. So it makes it difficult. What? Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Build, packages, Gleam, stdlib, source, Gleam, and in io.gleam. Again, we're looking for HTTP error. No, don't type anything. HTTP error. Oh, hello. It's not. Well, technically, it's an HTTPC. When you think about it. So it's not an IO, it's an HTTPC. So it might actually just be in here. Yeah, there we go. So we have our thing here, which is the fail to connect or response time. Now, how do I use these? That's my thing. So Gleam HTTPC. You see, that's the thing with like the most of Gleam things. They like give you a very basic example, but as soon as you try to do anything outside that example, it is a mess. Let's go to the repo. Maybe you can find something there. Is it gonna give me the same thing? Do they have an example? No. No, they don't. Okay. Because we have like this failed to connect. So we can maybe use case to determine if it's one of these. I don't know. But even then, I don't really know how to get the error from it. So I'll just go underscore because I don't know how to get the error from it. So could not make get request. Let's go like that. You can just ignore the noise. Get request. Let's go like that. Yeah, it's just the dehumidifier. Just ignore it. Let me close the window. Nah, that's better. So yeah, I'm not completely sure. Hey, Ginko. Oh, hello. Oh yeah, I've seen this. I guess I can. Script, yeah, but I don't think they actually explained how to. Well, I technically did read it, but how do you handle said error? underscore here is of which looks like this. But how exactly do I interact with these? Because I think maybe Gleam types. Like we have our custom types here, but I'm not 100% sure how I'm supposed to interact with these, other than maybe doing this. Like I said, like the case statement, but I don't know. It's just so difficult. Let me just put another recording light inside in case someone comes in. Ah, man, look at my fat ass. Sorry. That's too many cookies at night, my guy. Man, this stream is so far behind. Actually, I think I found my answer. But this is going to be a very, not expensive, but very lengthy process. I'm going to have to write an error type for every single time I have the result. Yeesh. I guess you don't always need that. Sometimes just a simple string will probably work, depending on how much effort you want to put into it. Yeah. I don't know, it's just a lot of information to take in at once. I think I'm being a little bit overwhelmed here. So yeah, I think I should just manage him like that. I think in this case, I don't really know how I want to proceed with this. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that because I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed by it. I'll come back a little bit later. Maybe just focus on something else. Because, man, I've been deep diving this like the whole time. So I'm getting to the point where exhaustion is starting to hit. Alright, so let's go. Close all that. Clean up this sidebar here so I don't need to. One thing that is nice about not having so many files is you don't have like the whole nesting hell. Or like 5,000 files in a folder, you know. It's just too free, you know, it's not nothing. Okay, but pretty much what our goal now is when someone goes to our bot, which also reminds me, and I go to my, just in case. No, not a train smash if you see the envy, but just in case. Okay, let's go back here. So when someone goes to the bot, they go to bot start. What the bot does is it goes to right here, and if you type /search without any specific search term, it should get the anime list. If it got it correctly, it should return the text. Otherwise, you just reply with, hey, I failed. And is Ketsu probably down? In this case, we should implement this, and it has res here, which is this Ketsu anime response. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just get the basics, like maybe just list the anime. So you can maybe go here and say, we probably want to define what type of searches returned here. So type. How do we define all of those here? Just too many. Yeah, so just the type and then actually defining it inside. Do we even want to? We don't need to do that. We just need to build a text. Yeah, we just need to build a text. I don't think we need to do that. Okay, so let's go here and say let init text. Yeah, just call it whatever. We can fix the name later. And it starts like this. And actually, it should be res.data. Then it should be list.map. This is also something I have to get used to, because in JavaScript you just say whatever and you go .map. Here it's, nah, you don't do that. Okay, then here we have the item, which is of kitsu.anime item. And it did import it from a correct place, right? Yeah. And here we go there, yoink, and we forgot fn. Then we can maybe make a let anime list, and you can maybe just put that like that, and it is a list of string. So then we go here. We do have list.push, list.add, list.append. I guess should work fine. Why is it importing it from Telegram bot? What? What? Why? Or maybe I'm just understanding it wrong. List.append and to anime list, and then what we actually want to append to it, I'm assuming. So that takes another list of string. Here, in case we're just gonna add a regular string here. Item.id dash, and here we can just go like that. Item.attributes, as the attributes might not exist, so let's go item.attributes here, and let's just remove this from here for now, so we don't get all these red squigglies. So let's see here. So we have items.attribute, and this is possibly optional. So option dot, do we have like an exist? Option.sum, I think. .sum. So you can actually go case. But that's gonna be a lot of case statements. In case they don't exist, you know, so okay. Let's go, I don't know, case, and then here we go, sum attribute, then we return attribute. Otherwise, if none attribute, none should just give us nothing, right? Otherwise, if none, we should not return anything. But see, we want to return this attribute here. String. Why is attribute a string? What? Why is this a string? What? What does sum do? No definition found. Sum what? Like, wait. Gleam. Yo, let's go up. Let me just go figure out something here. Contents. I'm specifically looking for option module. Yeah, there we go. So I have some here, and one has none. This one would actually just be none, not, you know. I think this might be wrong. I'm not sure. How does one check that, you know? So yeah, we have that, and we have that. But see, they use sum A. And then you have your option A, yeah. So maybe I understand it wrong. Because sum wouldn't necessarily be the result from here. Converts result type to an option type. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, here we have is none. I mean, if it is none, we know what we're working with here. So if it is not none, so you can maybe go is none. Okay, can you stop bothering me? Is come on, give me autocomplete. Ugh, I hate that it doesn't work always like that. So is none. Oh, but then you have to pass in the object. But you get true or false, so we can actually put that on the top. Or we can use is sum instead. Yes. So we can use is sum. So is sum. And instead of that, we can just do this, I guess. And if it is sum, so true, we can go item.attributes. Oh, but we don't capture it now. Because it's just true or false, so it's not going to give us if it is something. We could use lazy or here. I think that might be the simplest solution. Yeah, just like or. I think that might be the simplest solution. I'm not completely sure how to work with it. We have like this to result. So the option will convert. But see, they didn't follow their own thing because there should be sum underscore to underscore result. They didn't follow their own rules. but let's not worry about that. So true result is option. We take the option and we get a result from it. I might prefer this. I don't like working with results, but at this point, I'm not completely sure how to even work with this. So let's go here. As we have option dot to result, and then we just put our item here. Let's call this anime item just so you don't get confused later. Anime item, anime item, and then let x is equal to that, and that gives us a result of AB. And this complains why. So it takes otherwise some error. Over. Okay, what do you complain about now? So expected type option dot. Oh wait, my bad. That's why you're complaining. There we go. And now this gives me either this or that string. Is this even needed? Question mark? Yeah. Okay. Attributes not exist. Then we can just go case. Okay. Attributes. And we can do something. Otherwise, error. And we don't really care. I guess we can go ERR and just go io.print error ERR. That could work. I do like this to do keyword. That's kind of nice. So now we get a anime attributes there. So now if we go attributes dot, and now we have the abbreviated title, which is also an optional value. So, and this is also like most of it. So what about just the other title, the canonical title? That is an optional string. Now see, I kind of want to convert this to, to a result as well, so I can extract it. See, there must be a cleaner way of doing it. There must be. So you have your all here, which is checks. You have your flatten. You have your from result. You have your is none, but that's not gonna work, I think. You have your lazy or. I just don't think that will solve my problem. Lazy unwrap. So then you put someone in there, and then if it unwraps, you get that. The thing is, I would just like to do a case statement check against it. I mean, if something in there, return. Kind of like what I tried to do before. Because you see, we're getting back into the same issue here, where, well, not the same issue, but it's a different issue, but still. So I want to do case, and then anime item dot attributes, and I mean if it's sum. But see, now it expects me to give it a value, to tell it what it's gonna be. Now I don't know what it's gonna be. That's the issue. Can I do that? Yeah, so see, I can't use that. Man, and there's just so many things you can use here. The thing is, if is sum worked like this, where you can just say, if it is sum, then it cascades the value that exists here, but it doesn't. So I can't use this. This would have been the most comfortable way. So I'm gonna have to probably go for something like this, where now I get the canonical title here. So list dot append anime list, and we go. Actually, we just need to add it here. We need to append it. We just need to, save the, so we can go let title is equal to, we make this case here, and in the case that there is no title, we can say n/a. How about that? Title is of option string, so this is, oh yeah, that makes sense. So let's go case. We'll make it to result again. I truly don't think this is the greatest way to do it. I'll maybe ask later, but I don't want to be a nuisance. So here I have the canonical title. Wait, we can use or. Wait. Since we're just doing that, can't we just go option.or? Yeah, because it's just a string on there today, so in/a. Not the best string, but string not list. Are they telling me they want this as optional, not option? Like that? What do they want? So it's or, oh, it needs to be sum specifically. So option.sum. But I wonder, let res is equal to, or res here is now equal to, I don't know. It's still option string. But I said it should be this or that. If this is not option, then it should be this. I really don't understand. Or. I just don't understand. But see, it's comparing against someone. How do you extract, my guy? This is so annoying. How do you extract with it? Because I don't want sum anymore. I want my value. So, option. So we have flatten from result is none, is sum, lazy or none. Sum. Then. Maybe it's values. Values. No, see, it takes a list. However, it does in fact return that value. So if we just get the first value here, I don't think that's the cleanest way, but you could just unwrap. Maybe just use unwrap. That's gonna make my life so much easier. Option dot unwrap. Oh my word, okay. Because I just can't, my guy. Sometimes it's just too much effort. Anime title, there we go. You can actually call it canonical, yeah, title. Then we can just add them together here. Okay. Let's remove that. So then we can actually go list.join. List. Is there no join? What? There's a wrap maybe? List. Man, this is just this never ending rabbit hole, my guy. I guess let's see here. So I want something that takes in list and it returns a string. String. Join. To string. List dot to. No. String dot from. List. Join list as string Gleam. Man, there's really not a lot of. There's really not a lot of like things here. We have our strings here, but all this is gonna do is gonna take me to where I literally just was. But this is for the string, so maybe if I go list and search for that, concat. Oh, I think it's string.concat. String.concat. And again, it's telling me it's coming from Telegram bot. Oh, but it's in Telegram bot. I don't understand. I literally didn't understand, so it's fine. Let's see here. Now we just say list. Anime item. Or anime list, I guess. That's because we have that here. Then it goes here. It appends it. And then here we just concat it. Can I specify with what? I cannot specify with what. Ugh. That's not comfy, bro. Oh, wait. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Join. Backslash n. That was what I was looking for. Okay. Let's stop whatever that is. What is even showing here? Error report failed. Request time response. Stop polling. Okay. Hopefully that does not bite us any bad later. Okay, where is Telegram? Did I move it? Did I move it? Where's Telegram now? Hello, Telegram. No way, it's gone. Okay, okay, and then you don't need to be that big. We can even make you smaller, to be honest. Yoink, that's better. Okay, /search. Come on, what you got for me? It's taken a while. No errors though. I should maybe put an echo or two in here so I can actually see it do something. Yo, you still here, bro? Okay, let me just put an echo or two in here so I can just see. Echo started. Echo fetched. Anime list. Starting map. It should give me an error message if it fails. Here we go. Ended map. Yeah, it's still waiting. So ended map, and in here, is that nil needed? Yeah, it's needed. Okay. Finished. There we go. All right, let's see. Maybe it's waiting on something, but I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any logs. Wink. Okay, so it ended the map. It finished, but it didn't send it. Reply with text. I might be doing something wrong here because here I'm returning nil, so I'm not sure if I maybe did something wrong. What is this called? This is Delega Gleam. Because I might have done something wrong here. I'm not completely sure. Let's see here. Reply with text and then OK CTX. Okay, my bad. I forgot to return CTX. Oh, okay, CTX. Actually, can I just boink? Unused result value. I don't know what that means. Oh, but here we return OK CTX. So technically it doesn't matter. I can just do this and it should still work. Maybe it's because I added nil here. I don't know. Because here we have nil. Nil. Echo. CTX. Yeah, I messed something up and I'm not completely sure what yet. So let's see here. Let's try that again. What do we get? Started. And we got CTX. So it actually got to that context, but it didn't send the message. Okay, let's take a look here. So here we have the handle command. Yo, the dark mode would have been very nice. Gee, where's my eyes? Dark mode. Ah, please, not contrast. I mean, there. Hello? Dark mode? I turned it on, but... Oh. I am confused. Okay. Never mind. We'll just blind ourselves. So let's see here. So here we reply with text, we do our thing, and then all we say is we say OK CTX. So we go here, we reply with text. And then at the end we see text. It looks fine to me. Let's try this one. Maybe something's fishy. Or maybe this didn't okay. Because here we also have an assert okay here. Because this is also a result type on the end of the day. So it might actually error out on us. So let's go case. Throw that in there. We say okay. Success, I guess. What would this be? Nothing important, I think. We can just nil. It's fine. Error. Error. And what type would error be? Teleguy error. Hello. And what type is teleguy error? You see, I can't import it, so I can't quickly get to it. So every time I want to check an error, I have to go search for it. Gee whiz, no way. Okay, let's just go io.print error. Could not send with text. Nil. I don't know. I think it by default returns nil. Okay, it's same thing here. But just different message. So instead of anime list, we specify this. Remove that. And these are not used, so we can just underscore them. Try again. Could not send. Okay, so we are definitely running into some sort of error. Okay, let's just go ERR and then echo ERR. Man, what I would give for a hot reload. For a bad request, message text is empty. Nani? What do you mean message text is empty? Error, son? Let's see here. So we append the ID here, and this is for each iteration in the list to this right there. So this maybe just echo anime list. Maybe something wonky is going on there. And then why not also echo out this, just in case, you know. So there we go. Okay, let's try that again. Search empty list. Why is it empty? At least res.data itself is empty. Which is completely possible. No, it's not. Look at that. Res.data is fat, my guy. It's not empty. So it is definitely mapping through it. Then it gets the item. Then it assigns canonical title based on this right here. And then it appends to it. Maybe I'm understanding that incorrectly. Maybe it's not appending to it. Go away. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. We were at list a second ago, but there's so many things here now. Okay, so I have a toString here. Append. So we do have an append here, which does in fact append. Let's see here. Append contains count drop each filter. We have an each, and maybe I should use each instead of map. Because technically map returns. No, but we want the result from the map. Do we though? Could we not just do this? And then technically this map will give us a list of strings, which we can then make anime list. I don't know why you didn't think of that. It's such an obvious thing to do. And now we have a list of string. So in case that was the case where, you know, it didn't quite append the data as expected, this might have fixed it. So let's go for a search in here. Oh, things are happening. Eee, look at that. Success. Oh my word. This took way too long, to be honest. This took way too long. Gee whiz. Sheesh. Man, that stream is really far behind. Holy moly. Just wow. You know, it's such a small thing, but man, was it a battle getting here. It was one massive battle just getting here. But hey, okay, I know a lot more about it than what I did this morning, so I think we're good. We just maybe check that the lists are not empty before we try and send things. So yeah, lit here we have an underscore. But why is lit here? And I'm not getting error anymore. Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't understand why it initially asked me for that. Maybe because there wasn't something below here. Who knows? Okay, because that doesn't complain if I remove that nil, so I don't know. It complained a while back. I promise you it did. Anyway, so we can just check that anime list is not empty. So case that it is. So case list dot is empty. Anime list true. Then we can just send a message. So let's go wink. And now we also need to do this check here. So we might want to make the check its own little thing. Like that. If false, then we don't really care. We can just go nil. Failed to list anime. Could not get. I could not generate list. Not the friendliest user error, but that's fine for now. Fetch list was empty. Oh man. I am so happy we got here because this was a battle. This was a very difficult battle. Because I don't understand Gleam that well. But now I feel like I might be getting somewhere. So here we log context echo command. What even is this? Anyways. Is echo command used anywhere else? No. Is this even needed? I don't know. Maybe it creates a log somewhere. Who knows? This isn't echo command. This is handle search or handle command, I guess. This here could probably be its own function as well. And let me just take in the context. We might need command text. I think we might. No, not for this specific one though. So if in handle search handle list anime request or command, something like that. We take this whole yoink and then we throw it in here. Now we're gonna have a CTX error, and the CTX is bot.context. So we want to go CTX, and that's bot.context, but which we get from there. I don't know how to specify. And there we go. Okay, that makes this reading a little bit simpler because now all this does is it. Oh, I should probably do the error there as well. Is it just does this, so yoink. I did too much. I did too much. Okay, wait. There's too many things here. There we go. This is the one. Let's just do it like that. There we go. And then CTX. Yeah, I think that works because then it's just a little bit less complex to read because there's going to have a lot of commands. So the less you have to read in here to get to the next command, I think the better. Okay, so I think that's good. So I think it's just mostly error handling that I'm going to have to eventually get to. Because currently I'm just, anything I don't want to bother with, I'm just nilling. Because I didn't know how to bother with it. So I think eventually I'll need to get to error handling as well. Maybe that's what I'll do next. But I mean, I take this as a win. I'm going to commit this. Also, the repo is also open source and on GitHub if you want to go there. So I don't know, can I go to there from here? I don't know if I could go here from here. github.com/readnext repos. So it is here in case anyone wants to mess with it. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to leave it for today. I think we did a lot of good here. Man, I just don't like these massive files. That's the only thing I just so far don't really like. But so far, this is actually all great. So we are making progress. Now we can at least list out the first page of anime. Afterwards, we can take a look at actually maybe giving some controls, maybe pagination. And then we can actually do this search here, where we actually search for a specific anime. But yeah. There we go. I think we can also remove this. Yeah, I think we're doing good. We can maybe also just add some docs like load initial important env files. This right here, I might just want to panic, to be honest. Because I mean, if the main function cannot load the base stuff, that's fine. It's fine for now. Fall safe failed. There we go. Anyways, yeah, so I think that's good. Yeah. Thank you to all of those who joined me in this live stream. It was really great. And hopefully I maybe encourage you to take a look at maybe a language you might not have been encouraged to do just yet. And yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope I'm looking there because I see the camera, but I actually should be looking there. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next video, live stream, or whatever may be next.